Welcome back, Dolphin Nation. How you doing today? Today, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and then I'll try to answer it for you. Is Jaire Alexander, is he the answer that could help the Miami Dolphins fix their problems at cornerback? Also, the Jonnu Smith situation continues to be fluid. Do you think he will stay in Miami, or will he eventually get traded? And I've got more information on 5 players who could surprise in 2025. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. Dolphins Nation. First to you, I'm going to read an article from Alan Poupart from Sports Illustrated. He covers the Miami Dolphins. And then read to you as to why he suggests Jaire Alexander can be a possible solution at cornerback for the Miami Dolphins. Why Alexander might or might not be cornerback answer for the Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins badly need a proven cornerback. 2-time Pro Bowler selection Jaire Alexander is now a free agent. Problem solved, right? Well, as Lee Corso famously said on those ESPN college football shows, not so fast, my friend. The instant reflex certainly is logical, but there are a lot of factors to consider when it comes to whether the Dolphins should even pursue Alexander now that he has been released by the Green Bay Packers. With Jalen Ramsey still seemingly on his way out, Alexander instantly would become the best cornerback on the roster if the Dolphins were to pick him up. And it wouldn't be close. But there are 3 key factors at play here: durability, financial considerations, and direction of the team. The durability concern. This is a big one, really. When healthy, Alexander is a top-tier NFL cornerback, easily in the top 5. But he just hasn't been healthy very much, and the circumstances of last season were very problematic. Let's start with a quick fact that Alexander has missed 33 games the past 4 seasons, and quick math will tell you that 33 of a possible 68 games is almost 50%, at 48.5% to be precise. Not great. Alexander missed 10 games each of the past 2 seasons and missed 13 games in 2021. His only fully healthy season in the past 4 being 2022. Not sure exactly what this means, but that 2022 season, when Alexander played every game, was the only one where the Packers missed the playoffs since 2019. Last season, Alexander was particularly problematic when it comes to Alexander, who didn't play the final 7 games, including the Thanksgiving night matchup against the Dolphins because of a knee injury that required surgery after the season, but wasn't severe enough to keep him from practice. The Dolphins just watched tackle Teron Armstead retire this offseason because of knee issues. After 3 impressive seasons, but 3 seasons marred by injuries, Armstead came to the Dolphins with an extensive injury history and fortunately lived up to his billing as a great left tackle, but also unfortunately continued having injury issues. Do the Dolphins want to go down that road again of taking a chance on a highly talented but often injured player? The financial considerations. Then there's the minor detail of what it would cost to get Alexander. Trading for him never was a realistic option because he simply was making too much money on his Green Bay contract. But that's the Packers' problem. Now that Alexander starts at a 0 on a new contract, but reports indicate the Packers offered a restructured deal and Alexander rejected because it doesn't contain enough guarantees, suggests he might not come cheap. Alexander was scheduled to make $16.1 million in his base salary in 2025, though none of that was guaranteed. So what would he be willing to accept from a new team? SpotTrack projected a 1-year deal maxing out at $10 million for 2025. That, quite frankly, might be a conservative projection when you consider 34-year-old Darius Slay will be earning that amount from Pittsburgh in 2025. Regardless, at some point, the question will become how high the Dolphins are willing to go if they decide to bring in Alexander. The team's overall outlook. While they contemplate whether to make an offer to Alexander, the Dolphins are dealing with some contract situations with their own players, namely Jonnu Smith and more than likely Zach Zeeler. And that's not to mention what's going on with Ramsey at a high-end cornerback in his own right, who likely will be traded for reasons that have nothing to do with his contract. Can you consider the Dolphins justifying giving Alexander a big contract and not taking care of Zeeler or Smith? More importantly, how would adding Alexander fit into the overall direction of the team? The Dolphins refrained in the offseason from giving big money to any free agent. The highest annual average going to guard James Daniel at $8 million per year. The Dolphins also have yet to hand out extensions like they did last summer, indicating a more conservative financial approach than we've ever seen recently. Does pursuing Alexander really fit into the equation? One that suggests the Dolphins are at least transitioning, if not outright rebuilding? Yes, Alexander would make the Dolphins better in 2025. There's zero question about that. Pursuing him would have been a no-brainer as recently as 2023, when the Dolphins clearly were in go-for-it mode. But it does seem those days are gone, and one would have to question whether they'll even make a pitch for him because of their lack of proven cornerbacks. With Kendall Fuller released earlier this offseason and Ramsey on his way out, the Dolphins stand out as a logical destination, and it's why you see them mentioned by national outlets. But digging deeper into the idea, it's really not quite a slam dunk as it appears. Another player that might skip minicamp. This has to do with Jonnu Smith. One high-profile Miami Dolphins already is expected to be absent during mandatory minicamp this week. There might be a second. Tight end Jonnu Smith also could be sitting out the 3-day event in the midst of his contentious offseason. Appearing on his weekly segment on WSBN7 in Miami, Smith's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, would not firmly state Smith would be present when the team assembles Tuesday morning. Smith might not appear as contractually obligated to do to his dissatisfaction with financial terms of his contract. A lot has been written and said about Jonnu, Rosenhaus said. Right now, Jonnu's situation is fluid, and we're talking to the Dolphins. That's all I can say right now. Smith has been the subject of trade speculation, including talks with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the last few weeks. Amid reports he wants his contract redone. Rosenhaus previously stated Smith wanted to stay with the Dolphins. Here's what I have to say on behalf of my client. Jonnu would like to definitely stay in Miami, Rosenhaus said previously. That's the first choice. This is where he lives in the offseason. He had a record-breaking season last year. It was the best season ever for the Miami Dolphins tight end. He broke team records for receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns for tight ends, and was the team's single Pro Bowl player. He's an incredible, valuable part of this team. He went to college in FIU. His dream team is the Dolphins. Hopefully everything works out where he can stay in Miami. Smith signed a friendly 2-year contract in the offseason of 2024. He's scheduled to make approximately $4 million in 2025. The next 3 players to possibly sit out the Dolphins' mandatory minicamp are Zach Zeeler. Jalen Ramsey, of course, already declared he's not going to be there, and Jaden Daniels because he's recovering from Achilles tendon surgery. All right, guys, 3 players that might surprise everybody in 2025 for the Miami Dolphins. 3 young players. The Miami Dolphins have 3 young players under the radar players with potential to make the move for playing time next season. Quickly, Ollie Gordon's the first one. Grayson Murphy, an edge rusher, is the second one. He's doing good in OTAs, or did good in OTAs, and he might replace Quentin Bell from what I'm hearing. The third one is, if he gets a shot, I think he should have been getting a shot 2 years ago, is safety Elijah Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, leave me your thoughts down below. What you think of the Jonnu situation, the Ramsey situation, the Sealer situation. Should Sealer get a new contract? Where do you think Ramsey will land once traded? And will Jonnu be in Miami, or will Jonnu be traded? Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll talk to you soon. Like always, stay positive, stay on your grind, and go Dolphins.